When selling into a critical industry, should you assume that the industrial standard is being properly followed by your prospect? I wish I could tell you yes, but my experience says otherwise. There are two different cases here. One is when the government steps in and regulates the industry. For example, in avionics, if you want to have your software flying aboard a plane, the FAA and European authorities and the likes are essentially saying this: you must comply with DO 178C standard. And it's a pretty prescriptive standard, so things tend to be clear. And then in general, if you go to an avionics company, they will say, yes, we're going to follow these recommendations, otherwise we're not going to be flying. However, if you take a look at the equivalent on the FDA side in medical devices, for example, either for software verification that has been published many years ago, or the recent Cybersecurity pre-market guidelines, the language is not as clear, it's grayer, and that enables companies to pick and choose, or at the very least to interpret the standard the way that they see fit. So for you as a sales or pre-sales person, you need to keep that in mind, because you cannot assume that they are following the standard that the way that you think it should be followed. On the other hand, you have standards where there's not a government entity that is actually enforcing that standard onto the industry. It's more like auto-regulation. So for example, ISO 26262 for the testing of automotive software. That's one good example. And yeah, sometimes I saw myself different companies selectively complying with different parts of the standard, not with the whole thing, and still saying in the end that they're complying with ISO 26262. What to do if you have in front of you a prospect that is not actually following one of these standards? Well, I would like to say that the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. So you cannot boil the ocean. Some of these organizations may not be at the point where they can actually adopt these standards wholesale. There are things that you should be able to do, some evangelization, give them food for thought, but at the same time you realize that it's going to be a process, and then you can be there alongside them to make sure that they can actually undertake that process and that journey successfully.